have come to meet the team
schools
to
under
show us
the
text
supervision of
messages
the Federal Ministry of
that have been
Education
sent
will
to
not
them
open
that if they can
on August 4th or any time soon. Our schools will only open when we believe it is safe for our children. And that is when the situation is right. Not when incidence of the infection is going up in the nation. Yesterday, we called a meeting of stakeholders who will tell us their situation and what needs to be done in order for it to be safe. While the meeting was going on, WAEC announced that they are starting on the... So let's see who they are going to start with. And I would also like to, at this position, ask those states that have already announced, I appeal to them. I think it is not safe. I feel responsible for all children, not just the children who are in federal government controlled schools. Please, let's save our children from this. You can just take one scenario. One infected child going into a class. Because, you know, this social distancing is just some beautiful theory. When the cameras are there, everybody will be obeying it. When there is no camera, everybody will just be normal, especially children. One child is enough to infect everyone in the class. When they close class, they go to the dormitory. Everybody in the dormitory by tomorrow will probably be. So this is not the right time to open schools. I appeal to the states that have already announced to reconsider it. You know, if we are given the choice, me as Minister of Education, if I'm given the choice, I don't mind Nigeria losing a complete school year than exposing our children to danger. I think their health is more important than the examination they are going to try. And WAEC is a parasite of the Minister of Education. They cannot determine for the government what it does. I think they should probably change their dates or will do without them.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of State Education.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quickly, I would like to give a few overview of what we are doing at the Ministry of Education in relation to how we perceive students should be working at this time. As you are aware, we've announced that WAEC and NECO for the year has been postponed. This postponement is indefinite at the moment, and until as soon as we arrive at a definite time, we will re-communicate that. We will also be looking at what we will do in order for schools to reopen. As you recall, we had asked that schools vacate in the late part of March, as soon as this broke. Now, it will be a coordinated effort along all the states, because the lockdown in various parts will definitely affect how students go to school or not, or how teachers come to school or not. So it goes without saying that nobody can reopen school now except we coordinate all of that effort.
Very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels, and it's great to know you're there with us tonight. It promises to be a very, very interesting edition of the program. You listen to the Minister of State for Education and then Nigeria's Education Minister basically saying that there is no resumption of schooling activities as far as WAEC, that's SS3, as far as JS3, as far as primary 6 are concerned. We're not going back to school for now. Why? They're saying because of the coronavirus. We're well aware of what's happening in the country. We're well aware of what is happening around the world, and schools around the world went on break. Workers around the world went home and we had lockdown in many countries in the world. And the debate has gone from that point to, is it time to now think about getting our kids back to schools? After all, workers are back to work. So is it time to think about getting our children back to school? So that's where the debate was. And sometime, I think this was some time earlier in the month, I think in June rather, the federal government, was said to have said, we are reopening schools. This was June 29 was when the news came out. June 29, 2020. FG to reopen schools or resume schools. Schools to resume for graduating students. FG is the way to put it, because we told its resumption. But Nigerians were not having it. I remember we had the chairman of ASU, that's the Academic Staff Union of Universities. That's the meaning of ASU, right? Academic Staff Union of Universities. ASU. And he was live on this program via Zoom. And we were just talking about how, ASU had said, immediate reaction to federal government's announcement that reopening schools for promotion exams is the same as it is suicide. Don't be so then talk. Them saying suicide. Suicide. And a lot of condemnation. Let's just go back to that time. And I'm just going to read this for you. Oh, time flies. So, this was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Abba Simbok. 2 weeks ago. And I'm asking you the question, if you're watching this post, I'd like to say good evening to all of you. What do you think about this? Is it that Nigerians don't know what they want? Or what? Because me, I don't understand. People are tweeting all over Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, everybody. Even the former vice president of Nigeria, ATIKU Abubakar, has had something to say about this. But let's just read the question I'm asking you tonight. Let's read the question I'm asking you tonight. I'm told to go to my right a bit, so I'll be in the middle. Okay. So, this is the question I'm asking you tonight. Reps ATIKU, that's Reps ATIKU, fault FG's withdrawal from 2020 WAEC and other promotion exams. I'm asking you, first, the FG said schools will resume for promotion exams about 2 weeks ago. Nigerians kicked. Nigerians what? Kicked. Now the FG has made a U-turn. No more exams. And Nigerians are still kicking. Especially politicians and their data boys. I saw Reno Mokri's tweets all over the place. Reno Mokri was tweeting left, right, and center. I don't know if these guys just decide that they will just look for something to condemn. Well, that's their job. But isn't it about time we are objective? Because I don't understand. You guys said if the federal government takes the kids to school, it's suicide. Now they have done a U-turn. So what do Nigerians really want? Call me right now. 080-620-99556. I'd like to say good evening to all of you who are watching this stream. I can see some of you on Facebook. I can see some of you also watching on Twitter. Good evening to you. I can see some of you watching on YouTube, and also I can see some of you watching on Instagram. So a very good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Please call the number as advertised. In case you don't have that number, I'm going to put it, on the post for you so you can see. But please call the number 080-620-99556. The number to call again is 080-620-99556. 556, and I'll be very glad to read your comment, to hear from you rather. And if you don't want to call, you want to just send in a comment, feel free to do that. You can just type it on this post, and I will read it for you. What do Nigerians want? I don't get it. What do Nigerians want the federal government to do? I'll read some comments on Facebook. Instagram people, how are they? I'm also looking out for your comments on Instagram as well. Mbok, type a comment. Repost if you can. Okay, this one story. I think on Instagram you can repost. If you're watching on Facebook, please type a comment and please share this post. If you're on Facebook, like my page, follow my page if you're not doing that already. Type a comment, share this post, and also press the notification button. It's on this live stream so that each time I go live, you'll be notified. If you're on YouTube, press the notification button, subscribe to my my channel, and share it. If you're on Twitter, please retweet, and also drop a comment as well. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to say good evening to those who are watching and have already dropped comments. This is Late Night Talking. My name is Kofi Bartels. Okay, I can see Kristen Hills. Hi, you're one of the first to drop a comment whilst we were buffering. You know, sometimes you have to buffer before we start, and we're playing the intro. Kristen Hills, thank you very much. First comment. Chika High Star says, I laugh at this present government. Let me laugh for you. I don't know. I can't hear you laugh. Let me laugh for you. Okay. I'm not laughing. I'm just helping you laugh. Barivule Aboyskilo. Aboyskilo. Boro. Hey, call is coming through on radio. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
You're speaking with Joel.
Joel.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel, what do you people want the government to do again? Good evening.
Me. So listen, I've been following you up on your activities about federal government and the request of Nigerians about school. It is quite unfortunate that this same Nigerians, we are the one advocating that taking kids to school is very, very dangerous. Now, the federal government on their own side have come to a conclusion. Since it's very, very dangerous taking kids to school, telling kids to put on nose masks and some health instructions, then let's keep them at home. Next year, they are still angry. I think from their various contributions, various Nigerian contributions, and what LG have done so far, it is good. They should wait till next year.
They should wait till next year.
They should wait. They should wait. Because they are agitated for it.
Eh?
They are the one requesting for it.
Oh, they demanded for it.
So they should wait. Yes. They should wait. That is my own humble suggestion.
So you agree with the view that, when the federal government said, we would not open schools now, Nigerians went after the federal government. And now they're saying, okay, we'll open schools. Now they say we won't open schools. They're still going after the government. Okay. All right. They should wait. But if you had your way, what would you have happen? What do you think is the best thing to do?
Me. In my own view, I would tell the federal government to do the following.
To do what?
I will just list them after you. One, they should allow those at tertiary institutions to open, because those ones are a bit mature to handle health issues. While those about to write their WAEC, they should just allow those people to write. Then shortlist or bring down, if it's going to take them 1 month to write, they should draw it smooth, make it 1 week or 2 weeks for those people to just finish and go. So that they should not have a cumbus or congested syllabus to cover when school resumes. So that is my own humble suggestion. They should also provide health services in all the schools. That is for me.
Okay. Interesting.
Hello.
Interesting. All right. I want to thank you very much, my brother, for your comment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, you don't go. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Where do you stand on this? Please feel free to call 080-620-99556. Number again to call 080-620-99556 and have your say. It's still late night talk. What should the federal government do? It reminds me of one cartoon like that of Goodluck Jonathan. He was with his wife and he was riding a horse while the wife was walking and in front of him, and they said, "Oh, whoever did that cartoon deserves an award, because that cartoon was really powerful." His wife was walking and he was riding a horse. Say, "Oh, wicked man, wicked man." Then Jonathan began to walk, and then his wife was riding the horse, and they said, "Oh, wicked woman, foolish man." And then Jonathan and his wife were walking while the horse was just moving along without anybody on top. They said, "Oh, stupid people, can't they see a horse that they'll be climbing?" We have a next caller. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Port Harcourt. I'm Ruben Izu.
Ruben Izu, my brother. Ruben Izu, my man.
Yes, I've been following up and listening. I think it is a sad one, honestly speaking.
Okay.
I've been having opportunities talking on air, and I mostly speak. And today, ATIKU has also vindicated us where are reacting to what the Minister of Education just said. And I listened keenly and I asked myself, is it that there is no preventive measures the government can actually put in place to allow our children go back to school? And if no, is it not better for the final years that they've even accepted that from the primary 6, the JS3, SS3, and the seniors, the tertiary higher institutions that are taking their final exams, can they do something to enable them write their exams? That will also reduce the number of students that are in school.
How do you mean?
I don't think the minister
when you say do something to enable them to write their exams, how do you mean, my brother?
Now, if I should say, I was telling somebody the other day when I was on air. In those days, we do have a morning, afternoon section.
Okay.
To enable students not compacted in a very class. And if you go to the government premises, talking about secondary schools, nursery schools, and secondary schools, you see abandoned buildings. So if they can put back those blocks, if they can put back those classroom blocks, they can also serve for the social distancing or them not crowding. Coming out from what the minister said to say, challenging WAEC, and also saying that they don't know when to open.
No, it's not challenging.
Sense.
Yes.
I'm telling you, what I'm expecting them to say, see, Kofi, let's just be frank. This is the time the ministers need to call governors. The governors need to call local government chairmen. Local government chairmen need to call their educational authorities in their locality and think of how to meet, discuss. How do they meet to accept religious gathering to open? They met and they discussed, okay, 50 persons per service, 70 persons per gathering. Why can't they replicate something in the educational sector, knowing fully well how our system is here? Fine, no problem. In order to prevent our children from contracting this, a term to get with, as in a term getting by, will not be a problem. But I don't think it is possible for these things to happen without the government doing things. I don't just like what they are doing. Our children keep being at home, being so bad.
So you are not happy that the children will be at home, that they should go?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, now I'll come to the point you've raised about how the kids can conveniently and safely write their exams without anything being without them being put in danger, on harm's way, or being exposed to coronavirus and coming down with the disease. The federal government 2 weeks ago, though they made a U-turn and they said, "Oh, it's a mistake," 2 weeks ago said that there will be a reopening and resumption of schooling activities. Then they came out to clarify. It was Tolu Ogunlesi who put it on Twitter. Said, "Oh, it's actually for the promotion classes. So primary 6, JS3, SS3." And people said, "Oh, okay." Then reactions began to come up. Excuse me, brother. ASU said it's suicide. Some people said, they want to send our kids there to kill them. We had a discussion on this program, and people said, they want to send our children to kill them. In what facilities do they have? What do they have in place? Blah, 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 blah. What's the rush? Isn't life more important than writing exams? Now, the federal government 2 weeks later said, okay, we are reversing ourselves. What the Minister of State for Education said, or whoever said, was not our position, blah, blah, blah. We know they're just trying to repair things. Probably it's because of what Nigerians said, how they reacted. And Nigerians are still not happy. My brother.
Yeah. Now, if based on what you are telling, based on what you're saying now.
Yeah, Ruben, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes.
Based on what you're saying now, from the onset, I told Nigerians when I had the opportunity to analyze things as a public affairs analyst when I went to the studio, I told them, I said, with the guidelines they've come out with for schools to reopen was so bogus. It was an unrealistic guideline. Yeah, very bogus. How will the government ask schools to make sure they provide a temporary isolation center? The things they were asking schools to provide before they could permit them to open schools was unrealistic. And I asked myself, who is funding the government schools? It is the government. They are unable to fund the government schools to open by getting those facilities, and they are giving it in general, talking about the private sectors. I've been talking about the private schools. If the government schools, the government is the most wasted sector we have ever had in this country. Go to the Nkpolu school. Go to the Oroworuku school. You will see buildings that are being kept in them. And the government pumping money haven't known that the coronavirus has really eaten deep on the resumption of schools. Can they now pumping money to the government schools, rehabilitate the old blocks? You can use some of the rooms for isolation center. Now you are giving common. They said they shouldn't take schools shouldn't take admission fees and all the rest from schools that government will provide. How have they been able to fund that? Not to talk about asking school. Are they not asking the principals to now be extorting from the students because they want schools to reopen so that they keep facilities? There are things that are unrealistic.
Okay. So those are good points, my brother. Those are good points. But I mean, can't we all agree that as things stand, let's go down the lane of ASU, that we are not ready. We're not ready. Are we ready? I mean, WAEC has already told us when they want to have these exams. Are we ready?
Do you know that if as a result of these unrealistic guidelines the minister brought out through the federal government, that is why Osun State government is still daring the minister. Osun State government is daring the minister that they will go ahead with their exams.
Yes.
That's what I'm telling you. See, when you come out with realistic agendas, there are genuine Nigerians that will give you support. They will tell you, fine, this is how it should be done, and this is not how it should be done. But when you come out with things that are not realistic, your citizens challenge you, then you know you have failed. Who doesn't want his child to be healthy? Who wants his child to go and contract this virus? Nobody wants his child to contract this virus, but the truth remains that the government has a lot to do. The government has a lot to do. I'm telling you the truth. They have failed. What I'm expecting them to do, engage stakeholders from the educational sector. Then you have a better way to go about it. They have money. Kofi, I just want to be frank with you. We have money in this country to handle the present pandemic in the circumstances that we have found ourselves. If you want to go
will we be able to get it on time, to get things, because we're talking about lots of schools all over the country. And if the private schools, even the private schools, if they don't have some of these things, maybe government has to step in to help them because this is a pandemic that is a public health emergency. Can we conveniently and adequately cover all the schools in the country and make sure that they are ready to face their exams in a coronavirus pandemic environment?
Okay, there is something I want to also ask you. Why is the government accepted with calm to open the churches when there are no monitoring things from the government to look? I am telling you from an eyewitness. I'm giving you an
my brother. You see. I read some tweets on some tweets by some political tweets like Radio Mokri, and I laughed. I laughed. Why did I laugh? Well, how can we compare opening of churches and mosques to opening of schools? First off, adults are adults. They can be responsible for their actions. And if we have ABC guidelines and adults do not, stick to those guidelines, they will deal with the consequences themselves. But it's the children. So we are all responsible for the children.
Yeah. Now, do you know one thing? If you go to the church on Sunday, I am a pragmatic.
My church, Izu, my church does not open on Sunday. The pastor said we should stay in our house.
Yes, but that does not mean other churches are not carrying out. That does not mean that other churches are not keeping. They are keeping their power pack service.
I agree.
I went on Sunday. On Sunday, I went to church. I'm telling you, Kofi, the children's department is like how would I call it? An IDP center.
Your church children department is like an IDP center.
It's like an IDP center. No, there was nothing whatsoever. The students you are preventing from coming to school to contract this virus are in the church.
So they've crammed the children together.
Yes.
No social distancing, no spacing.
No spacing.
Is you call the name of this church? Call the name. I dare you. For the sake of Nigeria. Call that church out.
I will do you a text on it.
No, if as a good Nigerian, call the name of the church. Okay, no problem.
Don't put me on the hot seat.
You see the problem with this country. Don't mind me. I'm pulling your legs. But bro, we have some. But does it not show you how irresponsible and how hypocritical some of our men of God and women of God are?
Your Dayo. When I normally listen to Nigeria info, Dayo has been hitting hard on this one very, very well. So churches obey the government orders, and I think for now, even till this morning, I heard the Obiako local government chairman making some announcement in respect to how churches are violating. Earlier on, government said 50 per service, but upon resumption of religious gathering, now they said 70. But as I'm talking to you, I know some churches. I know I'm part of you people sometimes, and I have to go for investigative journalism, and I see some certain things for myself. I see some churches keeping 70 chairs in the hall, and as soon as the 70th person just come into the hall, they shut it down, and the next persons are being scheduled for the next service. And as soon as the next service comes up, the 70th person sits down, they still shut the door against the next person. No 71. They allow you to go and form sit somewhere for the third service. But I see churches that still press the feet close. There is no 2 meters, 1 meter. So I ask myself, are they not, some of these persons are teachers of some certain schools? In the children department, some of those children are students of some certain schools. So if they cannot contract it in the church in that manner that is being organized, is it a school that you want? If adults, like you said, cannot keep to guidelines of NCDC, when will you think the children will ever do that in school?
Yes. So are you agreeing with the federal government, therefore, that it's right now it's not the right time to open schools because it won't be safe?
There is never any time. When it comes to Nigeria, there will be no time that is right. What I'm expecting them to do to make this thing look more organized, I think it would have been more organized when I thought they got it right when they said the final year students, people who are writing exams like the JS3, SS3, and primary 6, and the higher institutions that are taking their final exam. They got it there. Nigerians applauded them. With that, now the institution or the secondary school might be so vacant to occupy only just JS3 and SS3. You can space them as big as you want. That is when I thought they got it right, but all of a sudden they put out of that arrangement and they are now just going blank that there is nothing till further notice.
Okay.
Kofi, let us be realistic.
Okay, Izu, I want to thank you for your time because you've said a lot of things and you've given us a very great contribution. But I wish I could go further with you, but I'm sensing there are people who want to call in and also have things.
It's okay.
But feel free to call back, if anything triggers you.
I will.
Then share
I'm
this
even
post.
I'm expecting you to make me part of this your program.
No problem. Share
All
get
right,
face
all right,
mask.
we'll talk then.
Yeah, we'll do somehow. But share this post. Thank you,
All
my
right.
brother. And feel free to call
All
back
right,
if
thanks.
you want to call back. Yeah. Okay. I had to let him go so that we can take your call. So please feel free to call. Number to call is 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556. It's still Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels. Please share this post. Watching on Facebook, Twitter, retweet it. Facebook, share it. YouTube, share it. Instagram, repost or share to your story. If you are here, wherever you are, maybe Facebook, please like my page, follow me, and also hit the notification bell. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. If you're watching on Twitter, follow me on Twitter if you're not following me already. And of course, also retweet and like my post. And everybody, you need a comment. If you're watching, right, I need your comments as well. That's the way you can make sure that this at least gets some good engagement online. Plus, also, you can call because I want to hear from you. What do Nigerians want the federal government to do? Me, I don't know. And I'm tired because it seems that everything the federal government does, always somehow you find people who go again. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying they're right. And no, I'm not supporting it. But I feel some people are being hypocritical. And some people are turning this whole thing into a whole political thing. Like Reno Mokri. I mentioned him, so he hears I said it. They're turning this whole thing into a whole political stuff. And I don't understand. I sat on this chair, all right, and we talked about federal government saying 2 weeks ago that they're going to reopen schools. 2 weeks ago. Please call 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556 to have your say, and I'm very glad to hear from you. 2 weeks ago, and I had, the chairman of ASU in Uniport, at University of Port Harcourt. And what they said was that, the federal government is committing suicide, or it's suicidal for the schools to reopen. Let me just bring that up for you so that you can see. Said it's suicidal. And the chairman of ASU said yes, and he gave me very, very cogent reasons as to why school shouldn't open. I want to read this from you. Let's go back. This is June 29. Following a briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 earlier today, June 29, the federal government of Nigeria has hinted of plans to reopen schools only for students in graduating classes. Only for students in graduating classes. And I mean, this guy on Twitter, what's his name? Is it Tolu Ogunlesi? His tweet is cited. I just want to go over to his tweet is cited. All right, another call is coming through. Oh, I missed your call. Please call back if you can. His tweet is cited. This is what Tolu put up. He says, Press at M. Buhari has approved on recommendation of PTF COVID-19, that's the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, # safe reopening of schools only for students in graduating classes, primary 6, JS3, SS3 to enable them prepare for exams. In other words, students in primary 6, JSS3, SS3 are free to resume classes in preparation for their passing out examinations, while the rest of the students should remain at home in the meantime. And the PTF said, all daycare and primary schools to remain closed until further evaluation, except for common entrance pupils. It says secondary and tertiary schools to remain closed. Arrangements to be made for exiting JSS3 and SS3 students to resume as soon as possible for preparation for exams. This was on June 29, 2020. Resume. And the same federal government, before then, on June 17, had released guidelines for reopening of schools or resumption of schools and universities. Universities are school now. So schools. So it's the primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. The Minister of State for Education, Emeka Nwa-Juba, he represented the Minister of Education at Adamu at the 2020 policy meeting on admissions to tertiary institutions in Abuja, which was organized by JAM. This was, like I said, June 17. He said that heads of schools of various education institutions did not have to wait for a formal order from government. See, there's a lot of confusion. They're confused, really. Even the U-turn, to me, is confused. It's confusion. He said that heads of various schools or education institutions did not have to wait for a formal order from the government to reopen schools before putting necessary measures in place in compliance with the recommendations of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. Say, don't wait for federal government. Don't wait for formal order. Go ahead and put measures in place. But they now listed the conditions to be met for schools to be resume. It says, number 1, all institutions of learning must have hand washing facilities. I hope you're listening. And the man who called before. Body temperature checks. So whether na kindergarten or primary school, secondary school, university, they must have hand washing facilities. Number 2, body temperature checks. Number 3, body disinfectants at all entry points to their major facilities, including gates, hostels, classes, and offices. So this body disinfectant is not just hand sanitizer. No be hand sanitizer alone, no. Listen to me. It's not just hand sanitizer. Let's look at it. Body disinfectant. Which is body? Is this body? They didn't say hand disinfectant. They say body. Body. Your body. Body disinfectant. Then they said not just one, but they must have body disinfectants at all entry points to their major facilities, including the gates. So if school has 1 gate, they have it there. They have 2 gates, they have it there. They have 4 gates, they have it all those gates. Then also entrance to hostels, entrance to classes, classrooms, and offices. Even if it's hand sanitizer alone, this is project. It's a major project. This is just the beginning, preamble. Let's go to the other one. They said that the whole premises of each institution must be decontaminated. 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 And all efforts must be geared towards maintenance of highest level of hygiene. So every educational institution in Nigeria, not fumigation. Fumigation is you go and it's air thing. Decontamination is a much bigger thing. Decontaminate. Now, they finally said that there must be strict social and physical distancing in class sizes and eating spaces. That's what they said. Then, that was June 17. On June 29, the federal government, through the PTF, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, announced that the promotional classes P6, JS3, SS3 will open. Then, moving on from there, what happened? ASU now said it is suicidal. Where this thing do? It is suicidal for the federal government to open schools. That same June 29, not June 30, not July 1, that same day, the president, excuse me, of the Academic Staff Union of Universities kicked against reopening of schools by federal government due to COVID-19 pandemic currently ravaging the country. Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, ASU national president, spoke with the news agency of Nigeria. According to him, the federal government needed to address the challenges of education sector before it can talk of reopening schools. He urged the federal government to provide ideal environment and take the lead by meeting the conditions spelled out by the NCDC before opening or reopening schools. Okay. And not a few Nigerians agree with that position. Then, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the next 2 weeks after. FG reverses self. FG what? Reverses self. Put the car on reverse gear. Cancels reopening of schools. Now, I'll read this article from this day. It says the federal government yesterday, this was today is Friday, Wednesday, in Abuja, reversed its earlier announcement authorizing schools to reopen for students participating in senior secondary certificate examinations, junior secondary certificate examinations. It said the schools under the control of the Ministry of Education would remain closed until it is safe to reopen them. It also cancelled Nigeria's participation in the West African examinations as scheduled this year as a result of the spread of COVID-19. Also affected by the cancellation of students qualified to participate in the common entrance, and it's not just JSCE or SSC, but also the common entrance, primary 6. Supposed to, do they still force their children to write primary 5? When I was in school, parents would push their children and lobby to have them write common entrance at primary 5. So, a member of the Presidential Task Force and Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajiuba, had on Monday, July 6, announced that schools would reopen for graduating students on August 4. And even before that, on June 29, they had also announced it as well. And then they did a reverse. But, so after the Minister of State for Education had given his own, the Minister of Education, not Minister of State now, Minister of Education, Adamu, while addressing, because Nigerians were kicking, Twitter was on fire. They were discussing it on social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, and on the radio, on television stations. Then, the same Minister of Education, this time Minister of Education, addressing State House correspondents on Wednesday at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, said Nigerian schools remain closed until COVID-19 pandemic is brought under control. Same government, same ministry, different message or messages. Adamu, who said his junior colleague, this is now the Minister of State for Education, might have been misquoted, said he would rather prefer Nigerian students losing an academic session than to be exposed to danger. Now, this was a position that majority of Nigerians were expressing. If you go through my timeline, and you look at the discussion I had with the chairman of ASU, University of Port Harcourt, Dr. Austin Sado of Mass Communications, you see the comments that people had there. Some were saying, no, may they open now. But many were saying, yes, they shouldn't open the schools now. They aren't ready. You understand? And they supported ASU. And now the federal government, I don't blame them. Because, it's only someone who's deaf, a government that's deaf or insensitive that would have a policy. Come up with a policy. And then when people are crying and say, no, this policy, doesn't favor us, it's not good, we're not for it, would not think about, okay, maybe we should have a rethink. You have to have a soft heart. You have to be flexible as a government. So I don't blame them. But it shows lack of direction. It shows lack of coordination. It shows disorganization, at least from the Ministry of Education. Because the Minister said one thing, Minister of State said one thing, that we are reopening or resuming schools. And then the Minister of Education now said, no, you didn't hear him well. You didn't hear him what? Well. So what about the one on 29th of June by the PTF COVID-19, Presidential Task Force? Now, so Adamadu, who said his Minister of State was misquoted, he also took a swipe at WAEC, which he said had hastily announced the conduct of SSCE, insisting that WAEC had no right to determine the resumption date of schools in Nigeria. Okay, so, for me, number one, Nigerians are so inconsistent when it comes to these things. Number two, people are trying to make some political mileage of this issue. It's become a political thing to bash government. Number three, the government itself seems to be disorganized and they don't know what they want. What is the policy? Because even I fought the Minister of Education saying, well, we can't force schools, but schools should decide. We, the federal government unity schools and the federal government schools will not open, but the other schools can decide. We won't write to, but we strongly advise the other schools, maybe states and private schools, should not write WAEC. See, COVID-19 is a national health and security and economic issue. And the government of the country needs to have a decision and a directive for the whole country. Now, when the Minister of Education comes and says, well, for we in federal government and our schools, we won't write WAEC or won't open for JSC or common entrance. And we also advise, how can you advise? You can't come and say, okay, federal government workers, stay at home. Lock down yourself down. Then the rest of the country, please, want you to also lock down. You come out and you direct. So they're confused. The Minister of Education is confused. Really, they're confused. So what do you think? And Nigerians themselves too are confused. Sorry to say. Because those on one side were saying, oh, federal government, no, don't open schools. Now are saying, why are you saying you won't open schools? Or, resume for promotional exams. Please feel free to call 080-620-99556 because I'd like to hear from you. 080-620-99556 because I'd like to hear from you. We've done, how many minutes have we done? 56 minutes. Wow. I kind of like it when there's no guests. Sometimes, but I also like having guests as well. 080-620-99556. If you're on Instagram, I want to thank you for joining us. You can call and have your say. Please call 080-620-99556. You can also share this post, and then you can also comment as well. I'll let you read the comments. Barry Vule, I think I've read your message already. Okay, says I think they should just let school one side. What do you mean by that? We have already moved on with our lives after all. How many ex-president, ministers, or governors, commissioners, profs in Nigeria just they pass through? Okay. Sorry about that. Drink some water. I think I should just do that now so that I don't have hiccups again. Sorry, please. Okay. Thank you. Triller Francis says, so bad. They're busy preparing for elections, but no to schools. Which way, Niger? Which way go? This my fatherland. I know if he shout. Thank you, my brother, for your message. Juliet Ogechi says they want the FG just to kill themselves. Case closed. Oh, just to kill themselves. Okay, Nigerians, Abi. Seeing school resumption, they frown. School closure, they also frown. FG must give up the ghost, make them rest. I talk my own finish. My sister, I don't know what Nigerians want to. Comrade Boss's Sunday Yamabana. How you doing, my brother? Ruben Izu Jr. I think I'll add comrade to your name as well. How you doing? Thank you for calling. Gosu Mwabagi, good evening to you. Obina Justice said, says, Kofi, some Nigerians are confused. I support the FG to suspend the reopening of schools for now. Esther Diamond says Kofi FG should suspend the reopening of schools in order not to endanger the lives of our innocent kids. Thank you. Okay, Esther Diamond is back again saying, so what happens to others that are not in the promotion classes? Are they the ones meant to be set back? That's a good question. Blessing Fubara, my brother, good evening to you. Imahari says, Kofi, is that number your private line? It has a number to call for this program. But if you want to call me after now, you can try. Uncle Saudi Peter side. Baba. I carry hand for you, sir. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for your time, sir. Blessing Fubara says, Kofi, the question is, where is Nigeria rushing to with these few months left of the year? And about schools with our children. Why the hurry in opening, even with the high protracted curve the pandemic is taking in this part of the world, my brother? For me, they should just use the remaining month of the year to declare a state of emergency on education and utilize the season to improve educational infrastructure and let all the schools be properly restructured, both in the areas of curriculum and also we can have a better start from next year. After all, the ones who graduated and roaming the streets looking for jobs, what's the plan for them before they rush the children and miss the whole season into some risk? Let the children sit at home, please. My brother, I agree with you. I agree with you. Robert Ozujino says, Kofi, Nigeria and its leaders reminds me of that old Chinese movie, Snake in the Monkey Shadow. Yeah. The more you look, the less you see. Man, you're an old horse. Julio says, which way we go, bro, my brother? That's the question where they for table be that. Monday Wadu says FG should put in place all necessary measures to see that students are safe before reopening schools, but they fail in that regard. What actually do they want from us? This is a failed administration. Okay. Now, are some of you asking yourself about WAEC, what exactly or where they are running or rushing to? Because we're still trying to figure out what exactly the whole pandemic is about. And some of the countries that are reintroducing schooling or resuming schooling rather, they're experiencing a downward trajectory as far as the curve of COVID-19 infections is concerned. Are we going up or coming down? Okay, so parents are going to work, churches are open. That's for me, it's a flimsy point. Sorry. So with all due respect to everybody who has that point of view, because you cannot compare children to adults. Okay, we have a call coming through. Hello, good evening. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Kofi. I called again.
Who is this, please?
It's Ruben.
Oh, Ruben, welcome. Please go on.
Yeah, I want to take you on the guidelines you were just reading earlier on in respect to what the government wanted schools to put. Now, earlier on I couldn't outline them. Is it realistic for schools to meet up to that demand?
My brother, you tell me. What do you think?
It's not realistic. And with what this is more or less like a mumbo, a kind of a game, mumbo jumbo game that they are playing with Nigeria.
Mumbo jumbo game.
I'm telling you, yes, that's what they are doing. And now, if I may tell you, how do you expect Nigerians to really take this serious? The Edo State election is INEC said whether COVID or no COVID, they will use the NCDC guidelines to go ahead. In Ondo, they have also pledged to do the same. My brother, what is this same guideline that they feel to adopt in Edo and Ondo that they cannot adopt for our schools?
No, but Izu, those are adults. They are adults. Okay. Okay, let me ask you, my brother. Do you think it would be right for the schools to open without having those what do you call it? Those things that that the government says they should have?
Kofi, I'm not saying no. What I mean is, who is to provide for them other than the government?
Good. Okay. So when do you think it's possible to have all those things now?
Of course, what I'm expecting them to do now is we are expecting them to say they are to keep schools closed until they make these provisions available for the schools. That is what we are expecting. Then Nigerians will be satisfied. They are assisting the banks, they are assisting private sectors, they are assisting so many sectors to see how they come out from this school. Why is the school not getting the same assistance from government?
Okay, so now those things are not in place, and then we're expecting that these things will be in place. Don't forget, about 3 days ago, WAEC released its timetable. Today is 3 days ago for the for exams. That's the 2020 WAEC, and then guidelines for the conduct of exams in the pandemic. So, can these things be gotten, in time? Even if the federal government wants to do it, can they do it on time, my brother?
Why can't they do it now? That's why I'm saying that this is the time to engage stakeholders in the educational sector. And the minister is supposed to be engaging the governors. The governors are supposed to be engaging with the local government chairman, and the local government chairman should be engaging their zonal directors. And that is how have they been implementing other things when it comes to education? They have been implementing. It's a willpower. This is a case of when the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Yeah, I think the government, if they are very much sincere, and you see, this is for now is WAEC that is opposing the federal government coming out with a guideline. Tomorrow it will be JAMB or it will be NECO. When the citizens have waited for you to do the needful and you have failed, they will take decisions that ordinarily shouldn't become like they are opposing you. But it's because you are not taking the rightful step as a leader. Now, what I'm expecting the government to do now, after meeting with the Minister of Education, engaging with the state governors and their commissioners of education, I think they should have come to a round table to agree now that I think for this senior secondary we should test run something. And what is that? I think if a school has a population of 10,000, the graduating students or graduating class should make up to 2,000-3,000. So which means it is controllable. Now let's see something. Let's keep a mini isolation center. Let's keep the temperature test kits. Let's keep the hand sanitizer and other things. Let us see if at the end of it we can manage. That gives us a pre-information on how to manage the elaborate school if should in case they resume. Now there are things we should have been putting in place now. It will give us an insight and a belief for the citizens that I think they are trying something. If I may ask now, from the period schools were shut down till this moment, what steps has the government taken for the students or people, the parents to believe, or Nigerians to believe that they have intention of opening, but because they have done one or two things and it's not working, I think that is why they are going back.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. What steps have they taken?
They have not done anything. What steps have they taken?
It even seems like the Ministry of Education is confused. It seems like seems like they are confused.
Now, let me just give you a very raw example. Some few days ago, where I live, I heard some noise, and I had to look through the window. I discovered that the private school has taken an initiative, going because they have the addresses of their students, their people. They have taken the initiative, bringing up all their school buses with the NCDC guidelines, their face masks. They will also wear hand gloves. They have their hand sanitizer, and they were going to homes. They were going to homes of each of those people to see how they engage their parents if they are keeping on the with the NCDC guidelines. And I ask myself, if a private school can be doing this, what has the government done?
Okay, so Izu, now look at the schools in the country. Would you agree with that the majority of the schools are under state governments? Majority of schools are under state governments. What stops the federal government does not have any issue to do with state universal basic education, post-primary schools board. Most of the schools that are under the federal government Ministry of Education are the unity schools. And then some universities, federal universities. Now we're not even talking about universities for now. the Minister of Education, Adamadamo, had said initially, from what I read earlier, that the schools in the country are at liberty to go ahead and also implement the strategies, for safely reopening the schools. I also read a line. The Minister of State for Education, who spoke on behalf of the Minister of Education, said that heads of various educational institutions did not have to wait for a formal order from the federal government to reopen schools before putting necessary measures in place in compliance with the recommendations of the NCDC, which means schools that are not under federal can go ahead and start planning, which also means that, like you talked about Osun states can also go ahead, state governments can also go ahead and start through the Ministry of Education and the various boards, start planning, Now,
from what you are telling me now, or from what you are saying now, won't that amount to a shortfall in the standard of the NCDC giving to Nigerians? If you can make that sort of statement, it's as if government school have a peculiar way they want to go about their own, but they are not putting that on private. They can also set up their standards.
Now there are standards that are already set by the NCDC, generally speaking. Okay, I agree.
I'm giving you a reality on ground. I'm not a dictionary. Now I'm telling you, just like the churches, who is monitoring the churches? They are still gathering in a way that doesn't go inform with the NCDC. But there are
is it the federal government that's going to go to every state to monitor the churches? State governments have to.
That is why I said that this is high and the federal government engage with the state. The state with just like the other time I heard about the state coming out with guidelines for burials, marriage, and co. I was outspoken to say that wouldn't work. If they want the State Ministry of Health to handle that, then it will collapse. People will not keep to it. It will not work. We have 23 local government in River State.
I understand. I agree with you.
How would you want to achieve that without involving the local government? The local health authorities are to partner with the state to enforce this to the latter.
So have you heard in River State? Have you heard the State Ministry of Education or the state government saying this is what we are doing ahead of time to start getting our schools ready?
Nothing.
So federal government
we can't see an end to this whole thing. There is no end to this whole thing because they are not taking any steps.
Yeah, because even this WAEC that the federal ministry, Minister of Education said they won't participate. He actually is speaking for federal unity schools, and he's saying.
Do you know what I want?
He's saying that he's only appealing to the state governments and other that they shouldn't write WAEC and Niger Light, and he just says this one is for federal unity schools, which means that even private schools can go ahead and write their WAEC. State-owned schools,
the government,
or states can decide. Sorry, we lost him. States can decide to write their own WAEC. Shall we say we want to go ahead now that the federal government they have not banned WAEC in Nigeria. They have not banned WAEC in Nigeria. What percentage? And I saw ATIKU Abubakar tweeting today, and I saw Reno Moku tweeting, and I was laughing. What percentage of secondary schools are in the country are federal unity colleges? What percentage? Highest, we have 2 per state. Highest. Some states may not even have federal unity colleges, I don't know. But highest, we have 2 or 3 per state. What percentage? And the Minister of Education, I feel that they themselves are also confused because they have to come up with a policy to guide the country and not to leave it to the... we have a call coming through. Let's see what this is. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, okay. Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
My name is Kenneth. I'm calling from Port Harcourt here.
Kenneth?
Yes.
Okay, Kenneth, please go on.
Okay. I want to contribute on this issue of WAEC and all that. My view is this. The minister announcing that Nigeria will not participate in the forthcoming WAEC examination. I think that's the latest topic you raised.
Yeah, but I don't know what I would say that Nigeria will not participate. I think what we
No,
say, federal government.
That's the summary of it because
federal government.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the summary of it. I just want to summarize. I'm
Please
in
go
the school system.
Okay, please go on.
So that decision for me is very, very wrong.
Okay.
Now, WAEC did a briefing. That should be on Wednesday or so.
3 days ago. Yes.
Yaba.
Wednesday. Yes.
Yes. If you read through, I have that on my WhatsApp. If you read through the protocols put in place, the measures put in place by WAEC to conduct this exam, it is standard. The exam can still run efficiently without any. Just follow the protocols, and these children can write this exam. These children have been preparing for this exam since they were supposed to write the exam from late March, stroke May. Now look at the time they have been at home, so discouraged and all that, and the time came for them to write the exam, and we are trying to play with it. My own summary is that one, government schools are not ready. Public schools are not ready. Private schools can put these things in place and conduct the exams. I'm particular about the WAEC now. Now, even if we don't want the schools to resume fully, why not allow these children to write this exam and use the entire facility in the school, share them into, even if it is 10 per class and all that, ensure that this exam can run through, let these children, close shop on that and look forward to their university admissions. So the decision for me is very wrong, and it's because public schools are not, they know that they don't have the basic things in place. Private schools, I can assure you, you meet up with these standards that NCDC stroke WAEC has put in place.
Okay, can I read them out for you?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what they said. WAEC said. They said that in conducting the examination, I'm quoting now. This is the head of public affairs in WAEC, Damian Oji Giogu. Yes. He says this is the head of Nigeria's national office of WAEC, Patrick Arega. He said that the examination will hold for 5 weeks, and I think we are expecting the exam to start on August 3 and last till September 5. Starting with I think with the theoretical papers, yes, and then ending with principles of cost accounting and technical drawing. So this is what the man said. He said, and I quote, "In conducting the examinations, we have taken due cognizance of the various measures and protocols rolled out by the federal government and state governments of Nigeria aimed at checking the spread of the pandemic." He now said, "Schools must provide wash hand buckets and running water, soaps. Number 3, hand sanitizers. Number 4, thermometer hand gun to check the temperature of all concerned." He now said all examination functionaries, including school council staff on distribution, supervisors, invigilators, inspectors, candidates, and school officials will be required to wear face masks, wash and sanitize their hands daily and throughout the duration of the examinations. He says, "Let me assure you in the general public that we shall adhere strictly to social and physical distancing in the examination halls by making sure that candidates sit 2 meters apart. This means that many more classrooms will be used and many more supervisors and invigilators will be required to conduct the examinations."
Exactly.
So do you think that WAEC, this is July? A lot of things are will.
Sorry, what's your question? What?
Okay, now this is July. This is today, July 10. They announced this on July 7. And they want to start on August 3. Let me check. Yes, August 3. Good. Now, July, this is about 3.5 weeks away. Do you think that, because the WAEC is not going to spend 1 kobo to buy soap, WAEC is not going to spend 1 kobo to buy hand sanitizer, WAEC is not going to spend 1 kobo to buy thermometer gun, WAEC is not going to spend 1 kobo to provide running water in schools, they won't spend 1 kobo to buy masks. They will expect that the students in the schools buy these things. Do you think that between now and the next 3 weeks, it will be enough for the schools to get these things? Note that majority of the schools in this country are not owned by the federal government. The states have a lot of schools. Local, private, schools also exist. Now, if you go to the hinterland, say the rural communities, go to the heart of Ogoni land, inside. Go to the heart of Opobo. Go inside Anthony. Go inside Oyigo. The lot of the schools that are big schools that are public schools. And, government has to now buy all these things and send to these schools. Do you think that the next 3.5 weeks will be ample time for government to get all these things?
Okay, fine. Mr. Kofi, I tell you truly, if government want to provide these things within this short period, they can. They can. The willpower is not. I see that they take the educational for granted, primarily because their own children are not involved. Most of them have their children abroad schooling. They are using online to go ahead with their studies. These private schools, even before this issue of WAEC, most private schools have put in place adequate measures. Running water, hand sanitizers, and so on. Great parents cannot. What is a nose mask? Well, every child is now wearing a nose mask because it's already a law. So these basic things, I assure you, private schools are ready. But the issue is the government schools. They know that because of the levity with which they treat the educational sector, they are not moved to provide this thing. But I tell you, if they want to, they can. Okay, all this while that the pandemic has been ravaging the entire world, doesn't mean that they all sat down. Government sat down, put their hands in their laps and just watching.
Unfortunately, yes.
I'm praying that it will just go away. Unfortunately,
can't you see Can't you see the confusion where the Minister of State says schools are going to reopen, and then the minister now says, no, you misquoted him.
That is the issue. And one thing in this country, whenever a minister for state comes out to make a statement, my dear brother, I don't take it serious because they only say they go and talk this one. Later, we will look at the reaction. Then the minister will now come and say his own confusion. Even when that man made that statement, I listened to it. That means the minister for state. But I was thinking, fine, this is a cabinet decision in line with the ministry, working with the NCDC, and then they say, okay, look at the way to go. Fine. Only for the minister for himself to make this announcement and say that it's better we lose one academic year than losing our children. What kind of thing is that? Children will not die. This pandemic has come to stay. It will be here for a long while. Why don't us all strategize to, see how to, walk around it, so to say. Malaria has been here for years. So, I'm saying this exam particularly, these children can write this exam if government is actually willing to. Even if we don't resume school for other classes, JSS 1, 2, 3, 2, and then SS 1 and 2, let the JSS 3 and SS3 write these external exams. There's something about this psychology, the children's psychology now. They've been reading, we've done revision over and over. How long? Before you know it, the standard, the zeal or the enthusiasm to write the exam will be so low. And even another calamity that will ensue again is admissions. If a university is only now agree, most of these men fill their JAM forms with awaiting results. With awaiting results. With a view that the WAEC result will be out before admissions start going on by September. So are they now telling us that only those who fill in their actual WAEC results will be offered admissions for 2021-22 session?
That is.
How many will they admit?
These are the things.
This year,
yes.
If this was done, if they don't write this year, then by next year you now have the current SS2, which their own due time to write is next year. So they will now write with this present SS3. Can they manage that number writing at the same time and then getting admission into universities?
But now these things you said and keeping the children safe, which because a lot of things are shut down. A lot of things are shut down in the world, It may not be too convenient, but we look at life, safety, protection of ourselves as citizens.
Yes.
So even with this repetition you talked about, and would they be able to awaiting results, blah blah blah. Okay, would they have more? Do you have more people next time they're writing the exams next year? Would they be able to handle it and all that? But they cancelled the Olympic Games. They cancelled World Cup. They cancelled a lot of things are being cancelled. And we're talking about millions of dollars. But they know that this is a matter of life and death.
So that situation is a very sad one, really. But I am thinking that this exam can be written, and then these children will move on. And then let the government try to put the basic in place. But I know the private schools are prepared. Again, you know that assuming the public schools are not being paid, you will hear agitation. We can manage the situation.
Okay.
Private schools are not being paid because parents are not paying fees, teachers are not earning money. But public schools are paying their staff seated at home, zero production. They are paying them full salaries.
Yes.
That private schools that are even, I can say, excuse my word, they are even efficient in content delivery.
Okay.
But they are all seated at home, no money, no payment because fees are not rolling in. So you can, assuming the lecturers, even ASU and the rest of them, they are being paid. Assuming they are not being paid, I'm telling you, they will agitate that government should open schools.
But
so we just have to move on.
But some of these, you're saying we have to move on. We can't keep, But some of these guys who are complaining, and even ATIKU who complained, he said something. He said that he's an investor in education. That's the first thing he said. He said he's an investor in education. So if he's thinking as an investor, it means he's coming from the point of a business angle, whereby he's okay, they don't want to lose their investment. Even some churches are thinking from their own investment point of view as well, all the noise they're making. So maybe I don't know, but I understand where you're coming from, my brother. It'll be small thing. Okay. Thank you very much. I keep watching because we're going to look at how a country like Senegal is managing to reopen, and I'll show you some pictures. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. We have to go, but let's go to Senegal and let's look at how the Senegalese are doing it. Okay, so this is Senegal having reopened their. I don't know if the pictures are showing. Okay, they're showing now. There you have it. Those are Senegalese students being fumigated. The federal government says before we open our schools, we are going to have not just hand fumigation, or disinfectant, body, your whole body needs to be disinfected. The whole body needs to be disinfected. Your whole body. So Senegal has reopened schools for 551,000 students who are writing exams out of 3.5 million peoples in the country. So this is, Senegal is part of West Africa, so I'm thinking they also are looking at their own WAEC. That's if the Francophone countries still do WAEC. I need to check. But this is Senegal. You can see there, they are sanitizing, they are fumigating the whole body, not just the hand. And look at the spacing of the students. Look at students walking down. They're wearing masks, but are they students who play? Look at it. So maybe it can be done. But I'm interested in the body fumigation. Look at this. It's not going to be safe to have this thing without body fumigation. Without body fumigation. And in some other countries, like I think, is it Thailand or where? They had things that were covering the desk. Some cubicles, like these voting cubicles. Anyway, let's read some more messages before we say goodbye, because time is gone. I really enjoyed today's edition. Really enjoyed it. Momta Philip, I think I've read your message as well. The Icon Studio says, good evening, Kofi. Both Nigerians and the federal government are confused. My brother, I agree with you. Man, no be small thing. Okay, let's read some more. Who is this? John Peter says, since the government or emergence of Adamu as Minister of Education in 2015. Oh, has he been there since 2015? Not be small thing, no. The man sounds confused. He really sounds confused, really. He says, education standard and system started dropping. National Open University was running well, but Adamu came and thwarted everything. Political activities are going on well, but when it comes to education, they now remember COVID-19. they should think well. Okay. Clementina Okomoko, good evening to you. Thanks for your comment. Clementina says there's really no need to stop the resumption of schools for those in JSS3 and SS3. They can write the exams. We have empty primary and secondary school classes. They can fix days for each exam and set different questions for each day. Okay. Clementina, have you also thought about the fact that they need to also, how will I put it now? They need to also, they need to have classes ahead of the exams, But you have a great point there that there are empty classes that can be used. Can all the schools have adequate body disinfectant or disinfecting equipment? That's another thing to look at as well. Okay, I have a sign that we have to quickly close. Where this message there? Okay. So you're saying that they can fix days, Clementina. I agree with you. Thank you very much for your message. Kenneth Aeze Buiro says government schools are not ready to do the needful by providing the basics for resumption. Public school teachers are not bothered because they're being paid. The children of the minister are not involved in this exam. Finally, it is wrong to deny these students the opportunity to write the WAEC exam. But okay, so I think that WAEC itself should also take a chill pill. What's the rush to have the exams in August? I don't know. Maybe there's something that they're not telling. A lot of things in the world have been delayed. If WAEC, for me, if WAEC could say, okay, we're going to do September, let's start planning from now. We want to meet with all the governments in West Africa, meet with all the ministers of education, and let's have a tete-a-tete. And then the federal government says, okay, we want to meet with all the state commissioners for education. I think that July, August, September will be realistic. I think it's possible. But they need to work in tandem. The Minister of Education is sounding, confused when he says, states and don't wait for us to announce formally before you start. They need to have a comprehensive national plan. And they need all the best brains from the state level, the local level, and the federal level to come together, and even tertiary to come together, and then come together with a plan with NCDC as well, Ministry of Health. And then now when they agree on this plan, everybody agrees and they feel that they are part of the decision-making process. They now go down to their levels and implement. And you have, people who are idling themselves away in the ministries. They can go about and now monitor and see if these things are in place. And take the media and say, see what we put in place. And now they start reopening schools. But in the process, people might even come up with better ideas for them that endanger the lives of. So for me, WAEC, what I think happened to WAEC is the head that Nigeria's federal government says, they want to write the exams. And now they also said, we should carry on or see federal government. The federal government did a U-turn, but they had already started planning. So I don't know. They need to take it easy. WAEC needs to take it easy. And then let everything, because they are saying we will. And then they are giving conditions, schools need to have these things. But will the schools have them? Because WAEC can't control that. And WAEC would not cancel an exam in a school that refuses to provide running water for its students. Not every school has, even private schools, none of them have running water. Sorry, but that's the truth. It was only a private school that a dog escaped from one house and went inside to bite someone's child and killed one and wounded the other. Some don't even have, a lot of things. So, WAEC is in a hurry. Rushing to where? Federal government is confused as well. WAEC needs to take it easy. WAEC would not cancel exams in a school that fails to provide soap or running water. They won't. Some invigilators might be, because they all come from the same school. They take invigilators from the same area. Teachers in those, my dad was a WAEC examiner. So we need to ensure all these things will be in place. Students are going to come with good maths, adequate maths. They can provide maths. So they need to plan. And planning takes time. You don't have to rush. The Icon Studio says COVID-19 has come to stay. God forbid. But I understand what you mean. So the earlier we start accommodating it, the better. So that we can move on with our lives. Which is today. We'll open next week. MBA. I don't understand, bro. Okay, it has come to stay. Doesn't mean we shouldn't plan well, my brother. Doesn't mean we should not put. It's not about announcing. WAEC is announcing, but they have not gone around to monitor and be sure that these things are on ground. They're announcing. I can guarantee you that all these things WAEC has said are their guidelines. Let's go back to them. Where are those guidelines again? Hand buckets. All schools must provide hand. All schools must. Does not mean all schools will. If you don't go and check ahead of time to see that all these things are there, they won't be there. And some schools will not provide these things. And WAEC will not cancel the exams in those schools because they didn't provide those things. They won't. And when the Yawa gasses, it's not WAEC that Nigerians will hold. They won't hold WAEC. WAEC is not answerable to Nigerians. It's the government. If kids start dying, people will not go and hold WAEC. They hold the government. Where are they rushing to? Where is WAEC rushing to? Hand sanitizers. Schools will provide. Thermometer gun. Schools will provide. Their own is just to do exams, so. Their own is just to do exams. And they can't guarantee that schools will provide these things. But they still want, they say they are just, see, what WAEC is doing is they already absorb themselves of responsibility. And they don't even have responsibility. Their own is to go conduct exams and leave. And there's how schools will provide. But will schools provide these things? So whilst the federal government needs to get its acts together, WAEC needs to slow down. Where are they rushing to? Where are they rushing to? Things are being cancelled all over the world. Where are they rushing to? Kenneth Ezubiro says the reason the exam is fixed from August is to conclude WAEC and create room for NECO. Also enable university admission. My brother. Everything in the world was cancelled. Olympic Games was cancelled. The world came to a standstill. Government was stopped. Work was stopped. Airports closed. Everything cancelled. So is it WAEC that can't be cancelled or can't be postponed? Is it NECO? Is it NECO? What is NECO? What is WAEC? The world has changed. Everything went upside down. We have to now start thinking about how to make it better. So where are they rushing to? University admission, which university? If tomorrow the world, we have another pandemic, will people go to school? If another one comes up, there may be a big pandemic, will people go to school? Will people go to school? We'll all go back home and rush and hide inside now. So where are we rushing to? Where are we rushing to? Government needs to get its acts together, but WAEC is just stupidly rushing. Where are they rushing to? Where? Okay, so now, would they go and make sure that schools do these things? If schools don't do it now, and children start dying of COVID-19, who will you hold responsible? Where when they rush, they go? Where? ASU, when they said it was suicidal for schools to open at this time, they were not wrong. This is just 3.5 weeks. It's not enough. August, it's not enough time. No. That's my position. No. They are rushing. If you want to plan something, plan it well. That's not the end of life. After all, people write exams and they go and stay at home for 1 year, 2 years, write jumbo before they get into exams at university. Some people graduate, they things. So where are we rushing to? I repeated some years, 1 or 2, because I changed school and moved, from one place to the other, but it didn't stop me from becoming who I want to be. A few months to not kill the children. If 1 more month, okay, I think September is realistic. 1 more month, it won't kill, it won't destroy their destiny. What is worth doing is worth doing well. All these guys need to sit down. Federal government that is confused, Minister of Education that is confused, they need to sit down and plan. State governments that are just chasing shadows all over the place without planning and thinking, they want to sit down and plan. And the federal government needs to call them to order and plan. And September is not bad. Everything can be postponed by 1 month. Nobody will die. Premier League was postponed. Even this one, they are back. It's not 100% safe. It's not 100%. Some players caught the virus. I know COVID-19 is not a death sentence, but should we go and throw ourselves into it? What's the rush? I think we need September realistically. Here's another explanation that I find funny. But I want to appreciate Barizoge Festus Popnen for saying his message. But I find it funny. It says Edo has 2.2 million voters, while Ondo has 1.8 million voters. That is sort of 4.03 million. WAEC has 1.5 million registered. WAEC exam takes 5 hours. Voting takes a whole day. So what is the rationale for suspending WAEC going on with do election? It is because these are children. They are children. Those people who are going out to vote are going to the war front. They're going out and they're going to expose themselves to certain dangers. Moreover, voting is going to happen for 1 day. He didn't put it there. Voting will happen 1 day. 1 day. After you vote that 1 day, that's it. Work is going to happen it's going to be for 5 weeks. August 3 to September 5. 5 weeks. 5 weeks. And before then, the students have to go for classes. What are they going to write in the exam? It is WAEC. Because schools were closed, and because we are rushing to go back to go and write the WAEC, many students will fail if care is not taken. Now lie. What revision? How are they going to learn? They have been at home, watching movies, eating and sleeping. The serious ones, the parents have been rehearse. But majority of them will not be learning anything. So when are they going to learn? And if you want to factor in, they would have to take at least a week or 2 to do revision. So you want to add that 5 weeks. So you're looking at least 6 weeks. And at most 7 weeks. And you are bringing up Edo and Ondo, which is 1 day voting. Are you okay? Sorry, my brother. Sorry. I understand where you're coming from. Don't mind me. I like to find trouble. Barizoge, I appreciate your message. But I know say this thing, be like say you see I'm somewhere, copy and paste here. Because I've seen it on Twitter as well, and Izu mentioned it, or one caller mentioned it. Brother, voting is 1 day. 1 day. Voting is 1 day. Exam is 5 weeks. Then you factor in, and these are children. You vote. Once you vote, that 5 hours you are saying, once you elect voting, that it says the whole day, people are not going to stand at the voting in the voting line for the whole day. You go, you vote, you go home. You go, you vote. So it's a conveyor belt. While in school, they're going to be sitting down till the last paper. Some schools are boarding schools, which means the students are going to go to the schools from their home and going to stay there. And I think it's going to be for at least 6 weeks because you need 1 week of preparation and revision or more. They're going to stay in the boarding schools. So this argument, which some political tweets are sharing on Twitter, shamelessly, and shame on them, it does not stand. I saw it on Twitter. ATIKU is just talking balderdash. And I think if he says he's an investor, then he should be looking at his investment. So he wants to make his money. Bollocks. Renault mockery. Bollocks. Guys shouldn't even be talking. Shameless people. Shameless. And it's so sad Nigerians don't even know who to follow. You can't compare children with adults. Children are children. They're kids. Okay? Federal government confused. So they need to now look, you need to factor in when are they going to learn, rehearse? Am I making sense, guys? Okay. You guys, how long does it take to prepare for WAEC? If you want to, let's say now in this situation, they call you back. How long will it take? 1 day? Or can they go and just write the exam? Maybe they were rehearsing at home. Say? I should expect malpractice.
Except malpractice.
Malpractice.
Okay.
If there's malpractice, they will pass.
Yeah, they will pass.
But if they write it without cheating, they will fail. If they go to school now without any rehearsal and they just write the exams, maybe they were practicing at home, would they pass?
I don't think so.
Sango, what do you think? They won't pass. Okay, what if they have 1 week? People, he might get back to them. Even that one self is going to be rush. Ideally, how many weeks? Ideally, 3 weeks. Normally, how many weeks is rehearsal, revision before exam? When they stop teaching, let's say 1 month. Revision is 1 month. Me, my WAEC, I used one. We used to go for night reading. We had study groups. The thing enter ahead. He enter ahead. Then they want them. This is July 10. They're only going to write exams in August 3. You should think, if they fail WAEC, isn't it going to be a burden on you guys? May I think I'm now. If they fail WAEC, wouldn't it be a burden on you guys? Oh, they should go back. They should go back. Rush back to school. If they fail, Unko, the guys here are saying it's going to take at least, you say what? At least 3 weeks, 1 month properly. That's 1 month to be rehearsed. Okay, now they want to go. This is June 10. When are they going to go back to school? WAEC is not talking about, if they're going back to boarding school or whatever. They're not even concerned about their own. Not to just enter, collect their this, go back, and make their money as well. Let's think twice. Let's think twice. What is worth doing is worth doing well. What is worth doing is worth doing well. So my brother Barizoge, Festus Popnen, I appreciate your message. Though I've seen this one somewhere before as well. And I don't think, okay. He said, even from a rational point of view, it does not make sense. Ghana opened the schools for finance. Do you know what preparations the Ghanaians have put in place? Do you know how long they've been planning for? We've not started planning in Nigeria. We just have, it is unfortunate, and I agree with it's not the best, but that's where we are. They've not started planning. They just have, these are conditions of reopening, but they've not started planning and putting these things in place. Implementing as well. They've not. It's not because Ado is a graduate of Oxford University, blah, blah, blah. That's not the issue. These politicians are tweeting on Twitter. Oh, it's even Reno Mokri's this thing that you put here. I beg, delete this thing from my timeline, please. That guy does not deserve to be on my timeline. He puts out rubbish all the time. Barry Zog, you know they follow those people, oh? They're politicians, them boys. Reno don't chop from government. He's just doing his hustle. So that when the government comes back to his party, he will still be considered. He's just doing his hustle. Yeah. Reno is just hustling. He's doing his thing. It's not sincere from a sincere play. If he jumps to another party now, he'll be choosing the another thing. You need to follow them. When are students going to start revision? When? August 3 exams. When would they revise? When? I want someone to tell me now. You guys watching? When? Okay, I thought you had an answer. My name is Kofi Bartels. That's so much you can take on late night talk. Let's do things well. Leave those politicians who are tweeting bollocks on Twitter, putting out rubbish. And if you go back, I won't be surprised if they're the ones that also were tweeting. They must have put out, some of them have tweeted, why are they resuming? They want to kill our children. And now that it's okay, we're not resuming anymore. They want our children to fail. I'll leave in the hands of confused Ministry of Education, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'll leave in the hands of a confused Ministry of Education. First up, the Minister of State for Education, who is confused. And then his boss, who is more confused. And then we call it a day. Thank you for your time. I don't come out. Tune in on Friday. I may not be around on Monday. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Thank you for your time. God bless you. I love you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of State Education.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quickly, I would like to give a few overview of what we are doing at the Ministry of Education in relation to how we perceive students should be working at this time. As you are aware, we've announced that WAEC and NECO for the year has been postponed. This postponement is indefinite at the moment, and until as soon as we arrive at a definite time, we will re-communicate that. We will also be looking at what we will do in order for schools to reopen. As you recall, we had asked that schools vacate in the late part of March as soon as this broke. Now, it will be a coordinated effort along all the states because the lockdown in various parts will definitely affect how students go to school or not, or how teachers come to school or not. So it goes without saying that nobody can reopen school now except we coordinate all of that effort.
Schools under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Education will not reopen on August 4th or any time soon. Our schools will only open when we believe it is safe for our children, and that is when the situation is right, not when incidence of the infection is going up in the nation. Yesterday, we called a meeting of stakeholders who will tell us their situation and what needs to be done in order for it to be safe. While the meeting was going on, WAEC announced that they are starting on the... So let's see who they are going to start with. And I will also like to, at this position, ask those states that have already announced, I appeal to them. I think it is not safe. I feel responsible for all children, not just the children who are in federal government controlled schools. Please, let's save our children from this. You can just take one scenario. One infected child going into a class. Because, you know, this social distancing is just some beautiful theory. When the cameras are there, everybody will be obeying it. When there is no camera, everybody will just be normal, especially children. One child is enough to infect everyone in the class. When they close class, they go to the dormitory. Everybody in the dormitory by tomorrow will probably be. So this is not the right time to open schools. I appeal to the states that have already announced to reconsider it. You know, if we are given the choice, me as Minister of Education, if I'm given the choice, I don't mind Nigeria losing a complete school year than exposing our children to danger. I think their health is more important than the examination they are going to write. And WAEC is a parasite of the Ministry of Education. They cannot determine for the government what it does. I think they should probably change their dates or will do without them.
Thank you.